From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Cascade Paint and Supply is Reading's oldest family-owned paint store, established in 1953. We are the largest Dunn Edwards dealer in the nation, and most of our products are made in the U.S. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff are ready to answer your questions and help you today.
Well, as that storm system passes through, it's going to have an impact, whether it's in the form of flooding. We've got thunderstorms in the forecast. Snow levels will start to drop. We've got gusty winds. You need the Weather NorCal app. It's free. And here's the cool part. You can check out all the current conditions and the neighborhood forecast, but you can also watch my latest video forecast on there as well. You can also watch the 24-hour streaming channel. So to stay ahead of the storm, I recommend you download the free Weather NorCal app. On top of that, it'll give you all the alerts and warnings. And if I'm going to do any kind of cut-in, any kind of severe weather cut-in, I will send out a notification and you will get a warning that, hey, Mike Kruger is about to go on and give us some information. So you can watch it right there from your app. So be sure to do that. Go from your iPhone or your Android app store, search for Weather NorCal and download the app for free. All right, let's get you to it. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. Number one, the main event is today. This is what all of this information I've been telling you about this week has been leading up to. It's today. Heavy rain with possible flooding in some areas. We've also got gusty south winds with possible power outages, and not to mention those snow levels. They're starting high, but they're going to be lowering especially as we go into Thursday, Friday. And if I had a fifth place for a headline, we'd be talking about the potential for thunderstorms in there as well. We'll get into all of that. So let's take a look at what we expect here for today. Overcast skies, rain beginning to pick up in intensity for the valley through the morning hours, and not to mention this afternoon. Siskiyou County, kind of the same time frame there, but later this afternoon is the heavier rainfall for Modoc County, and not to mention the eastern mountains. We take into the north coast. Already seen that rain this morning. We'll be looking at rain through the morning and not to mention this afternoon. That's also the case inland and not to mention Trinity County. All right, so we talk about an atmospheric river. You've been hearing about this being an atmospheric river, and it is. But one thing you need to understand is that not all atmospheric rivers are created equal, right? We have 5 different categories. Of course, you got category 1, which is not a big deal, right? But you head out to category 5 and it is a big deal. We are at a category 2. What that essentially means is it's a balance of beneficial rain, because yes, we still need the rain, we still need that snow, but it can also be hazardous. And it's all of those things we're talking about with flooding potential, gusty winds, those lower snow levels, and not to mention the thunderstorms. So again, we're looking at an atmospheric river category 2. Just something to kind of keep in mind. We're not looking at the strongest category, but again, don't let that fool you. I mean, you can clearly see that atmospheric river right here aimed at Northern California. This area of low pressure is tapping into it, and of course, it's got some colder air associated with it. Now, that colder air will eventually move in, and that's going to allow us to see those lower snow levels over the next couple of days. But there's that atmospheric river right here. But watch what happens as we go into Thursday. We're going to see that atmospheric river shift more to the south into Southern California. Now, despite the fact that the atmospheric river is gone for us on Thursday, Friday, we still will have a lot of leftover moisture over Northern California. And with cold and unstable air in place, thunderstorms are a very good possibility for many areas for Thursday, and not to mention even into your Friday. So here's what to expect today through Friday. Let's talk about the flooding potential along with mudslides and debris flows to start off here. So we take a look at the flash flood risk for today. The areas in yellow is where we have the highest risk for flooding, and then in the areas in green is a lower risk, and then an even lower risk for the areas that have no color in them at all. And we look at that footprint of where that was. This is where we had the flood watch for all of the areas in green. Now, for the valley, it's mainly going to be the potential for low-lying areas, a lot of the typical low-lying areas that see flooding during these events, not to mention, of course, creeks, streams, and the rivers, right? So we got to be on the lookout for that. Now, for Del Norte and southern Humboldt County, for example, it's not just the low-lying areas and the creeks and streams and rivers, but it's also going to be the potential for mudslides and debris flows. So think about that for many of the higher elevation mountain highways, especially even on Highway 299, we could be running into that problem as well. So those are a few things to take into account. So let's take a look at Futurecast and take a look at that band of rain. Here's the atmospheric river this morning. It will push eastward through the morning. By noon, now the heavy rainfall in the valley, still very heavy rainfall to the west of that. But look at noon. Not a lot of rain at this point for Modoc County in the eastern mountains. But as we go through the afternoon on Wednesday, now we're seeing that main atmospheric river over the valley. East of that, we're seeing the heavier rainfall for parts of the East Mountains, and not to mention Modoc County. We're still seeing the rain for the coast, but it's on the back edge of the heavier rain, so it's beginning to taper off a bit at this point. Snow levels starting off around 6,000 feet today. I think they could eventually lower down to about 5,000 feet, maybe locally lower, but I'm not terribly concerned about chain requirements at this point. Until probably tonight and into tomorrow. Let's take you into tonight at 10 p.m. We're still seeing the rain in the valley, but the heaviest activity is now over the eastern mountains where we're seeing snow probably somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 feet. So chain requirements are something we need to be concerned about here, but it's still probably going to be in the form of rain along I-5. But you need to keep a close, at this point, you need to keep a close eye on those latest road conditions here. All right, let's take you into Thursday morning. You see how things are tapering off. Now, the atmospheric river at this point is gone, okay? But now we've got the cold and unstable air moving in. Thunderstorms are going to be a very good possibility through noon. Snow levels on Thursday between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. There you can see the thunderstorms on Thursday. All right, let's take you into Friday. Same snow levels. So again, chain requirements are going to be concerned down to as low as, I'd say 3,500 feet. But there you can see Friday morning and then Friday afternoon, the potential for more thunderstorms popping up around the noon hour, and not to mention even into the afternoon. And then Saturday, we may see just a slight break, but more rain in the forecast. So let's take a look at the forecast rain totals. I mean, yeah, we're talking upwards of 1.5 to over 3 inches of rain possibly for parts of the valley. That alone is enough rain for us to see the potential for flooding, but not to mention the runoff that we will see from the foothills and the mountains. And we're looking at the potential of 2.5 to even over 3.5 inches of rain for many parts of the North Coast. So a lot of rainfall coming in from now through Friday. We look at the long range, and you can see as we go into Saturday, a bit of a break, but still some of those showers out there. Sunday, another round of heavier rainfall coming in. Snow levels may be lower with this one, maybe down to about 2,500 feet on Sunday. Then Monday, we have a storm system riding down to our west. That could bring some showers for early next week, but I'm not expecting a lot of rainfall as we go into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. All right, now let's talk about, we talked about the flooding potential and mudslides and debris flows. Now let's talk about that snow and what kind of impacts we're expecting to see. Number one, we have a winter storm warning for the areas north here and not to mention to the east. We also have a winter weather advisory. Now what those mean is essentially the Weather Service is saying, just be aware of the fact that we've got some snow out there. Now, the snow winter storm warning is mainly for elevations above 4,000 feet, but as I mentioned, we could see it as low as 3,000 feet and locally lower than that. And there you can see a winter weather advisory for elevations mainly above 5,000 feet. And that's going to, of course, be off into the northern Sierra. So we look at the forecast snow total. I'm going to stop it at 5 p.m. today. It's not really picking up on a lot of snow in the lower mountain communities because, again, the snow levels today will initially be above 6,000 feet. But look what happens as we go into Thursday. Now we're seeing the potential for some accumulating snow around Chester, 4,500 feet. But it's not picking up anywhere else. But then snow levels dropping most likely a little bit more for your Friday. And now it's picking up on the potential for Bernie, Mount Shasta, Weaverville, Hayfork. Now, does this mean we're going to see 2 inches of snow in Hayfork? I don't think so. But I do think we could see the potential for at least a bit of a mix. And I think it's overdoing it for Bernie as well. But as we do see those snow levels drop, these are things we're going to need to take into account, especially if you're traveling in the mountains for Thursday and Friday. I think it's overdoing it for the ski park, but you get the idea. I think we're going to start off with rain for the ski park today. Lowering snow levels will mean all snow by the time we get into Thursday, Friday for the ski park. All right, we talked about the flooding, we talked about the snow. Now let's talk about the very strong winds that we have in the forecast. All of these colors, again, it's just all over the place, right? Essentially, we've got gusty winds out there for today and that'll probably linger on into Thursday as well. This morning, strongest winds along the coast. That storm system as it moves to the east, now around noon, I think widespread all over NorCal. We've got very gusty winds at this point. Power outages are something we're probably going to hear about throughout the day today. By 5 p.m., the winds start to subside to the west, but still in the valley eastward, we're still seeing very gusty winds even at 5 p.m. Now we're taking to Thursday morning. You see how it's tapering off, but still breezy, borderline windy for many of us through the day on Thursday. And then I do expect that by Friday, the wind should start to subside and shouldn't be that much of an issue for most of us. All right, we talked about the flood potential. We talked about the snow, the winds. Now, let's talk about the thunderstorms. Of course, you saw on Futurecast the chance for thunderstorms Thursday and Friday. This is coming in from the Storm Prediction Center. There you can see this is the area that we do expect to see the best chances for thunderstorms for tomorrow, and pretty much the same footprint here for your Friday as well. We're talking gusty winds, heavy rainfall with those thunderstorms, potential for hail, accumulating hail at that, and not to mention lightning. Precipitation outlook for February 6th through February 10th. There, of course, you can see the darker shades of green indicating better chances for rain in the long range, but also cooler temperatures leading to these lower snow levels. This is something many of you have been concerned about over the last several weeks with these warm storms that have been pushing through and the snowpack not where it should be. Well, this is going to hopefully in the next week or so, as these lower snow levels move on in, we'll be getting a better snowpack for many of the higher elevations. All right, here's your wave heights going into 5 p.m. today, 17 to 19 feet out to sea. They do pick up a little bit here before they drop again going into Thursday afternoon. But bottom line, very strong winds, high waves, and that's going to create some problems. We've got that heavy rain and not to mention those windy conditions out there. All right, let's take you to your forecast. Here's a look at Trinity County. Now, again, we're seeing the chances for thunderstorms here. Now, notice the snow levels today, 5,000 feet, down to about 3,000 to 3,500 feet for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe even lower. I've got a mix there for you in Hayfork, in Weaverville, possibly for your Sunday, and then we start to see those snow levels start to rise a little bit here by Monday, Tuesday of next week. Your North Coast forecast, there you can see those temperatures are going to drop a little bit here, but mainly looking at the showers and even those thunderstorms here for your Thursday and Friday. Up to the north, Smith River, 59, 61 degrees for Trinidad. That rain will be heavy. There you can see those strong winds sustained over 20 miles per hour, but I do expect, of course, to see those stronger gusts. Take a look at Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Look at those winds, pretty strong from the southeast. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s for your daytime highs today. We take you up to Modoc County. Tule Lake, 52 degrees. Canby, 51. About 47 degrees for Fort Bidwell, and Eagleville, about 49 degrees. We take you off into the eastern mountains, 49 degrees for Chester, 54 degrees for Westwood, 52 in Shingletown and Portola, a high of about 53 degrees. There's your 7-day outlook for Susanville. Snow levels dropping down to as low as about 3,000 feet, especially by the time we get into your Sunday. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Haas Farms. The thunderstorms for Thursday, Friday. Temperatures today are going to be kind of hovering in that upper 50 to low 60 range, so still pretty mild out there, with 56 for the city of Shasta Lake, 52 in Whiskeytown, out towards Lakehead about 53, 59 in Palisadro and Red Bluff. So here's your 7-day outlook for Redding. There you can see the windy and rainy conditions out there today. Heavy rain, gusty winds, showers, and thunderstorms for your Thursday and Friday. Now, I still expect to see a chance for showers on Saturday. Rain will be heavy at times on Sunday, so another fairly impressive storm system coming in on Sunday, and then more often on showers here for Monday and Tuesday of next week.